Hello, Cherie Hanson here. I've come inside because the deck is reading 50 degrees Celsius again. Oh, my goodness. Today I was thinking a lot about flow state, about these kind of peak, where you hit a peak of experiences of being on the earth and doing things. And a lot of things come together when you're in a flow state. You feel energized, you feel focused, you feel at ease. It's not the kind of energized like you're an ox pulling a cart that's loaded with wood. It's an energized that is more like an eagle would feel when they're flying, like there's something carrying you, lifting you up, and keeping you effortlessly high in the air. One of the other things, I'm looking at my notes, that we know about flow state is you're completely absorbed. You're so completely absorbed that your sense of the heavy physical containment of a body disappears. You don't feel so self-aware, so in a state where you're judging yourself or you're trying to do something. One of the things that's such a gift, the hornet sting, sorry, it's still happening, is you lose your sense of time. When you're in a flow state, I can remember when I was a child, I would go out and mix some of the sand in the sandbox with some water. And I would have my mother come out and say, that's enough. It's bedtime. You should come in. And she would be telling me I'd been making mud for 2 hours. 2 hours. That's just so strange, because it's not a sense of starting and stopping. The thing that creates our sense of time the most is our physicality. We have this physical state, this meat suit, this cage of mortality around us. So we're kind of in and out of things. We're looking at a problem, we're looking at something we want to try to do, and then we pull back into the body, we pull back into the present time. And that's not what happens in flow states. You lose that. You open up, it's like opening all the doors and windows on a windy day and just letting this, whatever is coming in, flow through. It's the tension between intended action and consciousness. I want to do this task. Oh, I should watch myself do it, is contra to flow state. In flow state, we lose time, and we also lose consciousness of the self. There is no self. And mostly children know how to get into this, because you're not working for extrinsic goals. You're not trying to make. To be in a flow state, what we need to have as a skill is to be curious, be fascinated, be exploratory. And we're just focused on the task. There's also a part of it that's very much about self-confidence. I feel I have enough skill to complete this task. Let me see. Let me try it out. Let me mix sand for 2 hours and find out whatever comes. Oh, I'm learning about which sand can be formed into something and what happens to sand when you pour water over your castle. And so attaching to the outcome or the outside or the extrinsic keeps us rooted in a much lower energy field. One of the things that's great about flow states is that they're really good at dissolving stress. You can't worry if you let go of worry. You can't obsess if you let go of obsession. You can't be lacking self-confidence when you've let go of self. It's just play. It's just move it around, try it out, see what happens. The 7 conditions for flow state is you have to know what to do. So when I had a really great art teacher when I was in high school, he could get us into flow states by playing music. He would play such a range of music. That's the first time I ever heard koto music. Symphonies, harps, electronic music. And you're given a task to do. Yes, you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to take a stick in India ink, or you're going to take some pastels, whatever it is he presented. But the specificity of the task is something you discover. You're just messing around. And as you're messing around, you start to get more and more and more absorbed in the task and less absorbed in your definition of yourself. So you need to know what to do. You need to know how to do it. And this is something that's kind of interesting. If you can get into the curiosity of a flow state, let's say I've got a pile of rocks and I'm going to, what can I do with these rocks? As I am playing with the rocks, I can see that if I do this or this, it will change the shape, the statue I'm making, the statement I'm making. And so we set out without a map. We know what we're attempting to do, but we're also loose. We're loosened up. Oh, look at that. When I put too much water and I pick up the stick and I use the India ink, it runs in such a beautiful way. And so it's a way to release stress, to release tension, to release self-judgment, to let yourself jump and just let inspiration and exploration and curiosity hold you up and allow you to get into a different relationship with time. And we have a feedback loop that is interesting because we're constantly observing ourselves to see how well we're doing something. What kind of a job am I doing here? Well, if you're doing something that you've never done before, or your intention is to do it in a way you've never done it before, you can't really judge it because it's just an experiment. It's just an experiment. Oh, look at that. When I do that, this happens. You have to be in a place where you are not being distracted. It's very, very difficult to get into a flow state if you're watching Netflix. It's very difficult to get into a flow state if you've got a cat rubbing on your leg and asking to be pet, or kids running around the house asking for food. One has to isolate oneself in order to lose oneself into the river of experience you're about to embark on. Some of the things that some people have an easier time getting into a flow state, and these are the people that are highly curious. They don't tie things that they do to a specific outcome, to extrinsic rewards. I, for instance, will sit for hours in a morning learning something that's new with no idea what the application will be for that information that is coming in. It's just a joy. You know, almost like the angel music and clouds and golden flowers blooming. It's just like, oh my God, that's so interesting. So that will light me up big time. Also, being self-contained helps create a flow state. Do I like being in silence alone with myself? Yes. Do I feel abandoned or that I'm losing value because I'm not out with people? No. The reward is so great when you get into a flow state. Your stress level goes down. Your ability to focus goes up. You can feel yourself learning. You can feel yourself learning skills. The skills are coming at you. And I think the last point that they talk about when you're looking at flow state is you're literally in another dimension. This is 3D, predictable, rounded, heavy material. But a flow state is going to take you places you've never been to before. Ideas will appear. Images will appear. Inklings start to come up. You start to ask, what if? You start to look at the stick you've been drawing with and saying, oh, what if I pulled the bark off of it so it became a brush? Or what if I bent it into two and used the 2 points? And now you're really getting into the state of gentle, open acceptance of the new. And that's what's so great about the flow state. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about that today because I felt that that is something that is helpful when we're in a time where so many people are living in fear and anxiety. Why don't you just try some things out and see what happens? It'll build your confidence. It will build a closer relationship with yourself. You'll lose time, and who doesn't want to lose time? Yes, gone. And you can spread your wings and fly like an eagle on. I wonder what's going to happen next. Thank you so much for listening. I deeply appreciate every one of you that has subscribed to my channel. It means a great deal to me. If you know somebody you think can benefit from some of my videos, could you please mention it or send it over to them? And you can contact me for life coaching. You can contact me for drawing up a contract with your future self, promises to that person I'm becoming, making those promises. So I want you to know I deeply appreciate you.